y'all, welcome to Back to Basics with Krystal. Let's talk chickens. Now I am actually sitting in my hen house. Actually, more like the doorway of the hen house. And I just wanted to pop in here and talk to you guys about how I got into keeping chickens. To make a long story short, when we moved here 9 years ago, I decided we live in the country. We have to have chickens. We have to have chickens. I want chickens. So my husband was kind of reluctant. He was reluctant. He knows how quickly I jump into things without quite thinking about it thoroughly. So he said, listen, I'm not going to say no, but I want you to do a lot of research on keeping chickens. This is going to be a big investment, and I want you to know everything you can possibly know about keeping chickens. So for the next 2 years, I continued to say, I'm getting chickens, I'm getting chickens, I'm getting chickens, while doing my research. A lot of research later, I decided I'm pulling the trigger, I'm getting chickens now. Went to the home improvement store. I got all the lumber to build this chicken house, had the chicken house built. This area that we're in is an area that's in between two buildings that are 40 foot long, and the space is 10 foot wide. My husband used to keep his small tractor and implements and stuff in here, and I thought, this is a perfect spot for my chicken yard. So he got the boot. We put like a privacy fence on the front and the back, and I've got a dual gate up front. The reason why is because we had German Shepherds at the time. The German Shepherds that we had, super high prey drive, and I didn't want my chickens getting hurt. So I had to make sure that the dual gate, I would come in one gate, shut, lock it, and then I could go into the chicken yard without the chickens rushing the gate, without the dogs trying to rush in. So we had everything in here set up for about a month before I actually got my chickens. I didn't start with babies because, quite frankly, chickens at the time intimidated me. I know, it's weird. But I was really scared. I was scared that I was going to kill them all. So I didn't want babies because I was afraid I was going to kill them. But I didn't want grown chickens. So I ended up getting 12-week-old pullets. I think I got 10 chickens that day. Now, to tell you how intimidated I was and kind of scared of them, I did not grab any of my chickens. My reluctant husband, who was not even sure about getting chickens at all, he was the one that went in and grabbed all the chickens for me. Now tell me if that's not love. Anybody else, I think, would have been like, you want them, go get them. But anyway, my husband and the guy selling me the chickens, they loaded up the 10 chickens. Hi Miss Ducky, hi. They loaded up these chickens for me in the dog crate. I started out with 10 chickens? No. I started out with 6 chickens, and that's what this house was actually set up for. 6 chickens, and the yard was set up for 6 chickens, even though by standards, you need 4 square feet per chicken, and if you do the math, I could fit 100 chickens in this yard. I'm not going to, maybe, but so I set this up for 6 chickens, and now I'm somewhere around 20 chickens and 10 ducks. Something like that. So how easy are they to keep? They're actually super easy to keep. They are really self-reliant. You feed them, you water them, and you make sure that they have a place to hide out at night so that predators don't get them. And that's really all it is. It couldn't be any simpler than that. So the house that I have for them is 4 by 8. And let me give you a quick tour of it. So here is my chicken house. I've got the big walk-through doorway, and like I said, it's 4 foot wide by 8 foot, and I've got the nesting boxes that are attached. So we went in today and actually put in these perches because my newer chickens, the younger ones, are actually nesting on the nesting boxes. Hi little dude. Hi. He got injured in a fight. He limps, but he's just one really cool rooster. Oh, this is one of the young ones here. She was born last year. Chicken butt. Mama was a Leghorn, and Daddy was probably that guy right there. Just by looking at the colors. We've got the oranges and the reds, really, really cool colors with the bright yellow legs. So the chicken house, I think it's like 6 foot in the center there. It didn't have to be any higher than that because, well, I'm only 5 foot too. And our nesting boxes, I'm going to come out here. Nesting boxes are actually, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got a total of 12 nesting boxes. 12 nesting boxes. I wanted them to have plenty of room. And the sad facts are that they only use 1 or 2. 1 or 2. And the young ones are actually nesting up on this spot right here and then pooping into my nesting boxes. So that's why we put the perches up today. The really cool thing about this design here is that the lids come down and now everything is covered up. And then you see I've got the ventilation up there that's covered up. And you see this spot right here? Okay, so let's talk about that. When I picked out the design of my chicken house, I wanted something that I could come over and lift up a lid and get into my nesting boxes. The reason why, I don't like snakes. No, deathly afraid of them. Do not like snakes. No way, shape, or form. Since we've been out here, I've gotten a little bit better. I don't scream and cry as much, but yeah, I don't like snakes. And the truth is, since we've had the chickens free ranging, we don't have a problem with rodents. We don't have mice. We don't have lizards. We don't have frogs. I've seen them attack little birds. They're attacking each other right now. The one thing that we do have are big snakes. So I designed this house with the thought process that I'm going to get a snake one day in the chicken house, and I didn't want to reach my hand in and grab a snake when I was trying to get eggs. I wanted to be fully visible. So the area that you see over there. Came out to the chicken yard one evening, and I guess it was about 3 years ago now. Came out here one evening to collect eggs, and both sides, it was summertime. I'm sorry, didn't mean to hit you in the face. Both sides were open just like what you see. And I just, for some reason, decided to peek through this side over here. When I peeked through, I saw this big black mass. It was awful. Didn't scream. Very proud of myself. I didn't scream. I radioed for my husband. We actually carry these radios around because the property is so big. And there's not cell service all over the property, so we carry radios around. He was on the other end of the property, and I very calmly over the radio said, I need you to come back up to the chicken house. I have a snake in here. And he said, okay, keep an eye on it. Don't move. And I said, okay, no worries. I'm not going to move. Probably partly because I was petrified. He came out with his shotgun. I said, you're going to give my chickens a heart attack with the noise. I don't want you to, can you get rid of it, the snake with the machete. Let me paint a picture of this snake for you. Big around as my wrist and about 5 foot long. This was a big dude. And he was eating my eggs. He had a belly full of eggs already, and he was continuing to munch down, and I witnessed him eat 2 eggs while I was waiting on my husband to get back up here. And it did not take my husband long to get over here. So my husband said, yeah, okay, no problem. I don't want to give your chickens a heart attack, so I'll just take this machete, and I'll just, kill the snake that way. Well, we learned a very quick lesson. A snake that has a food source, it will protect its food source, and it will try to bite you. The snake lunged at my husband. At what point my husband said, nope, not doing that. And the hole you see over there, the patch job, the snake went through that. It was 2 shots. Snake guts, eggs went everywhere. And, none of my chickens got scared, got spooked. They ran towards all the yucky goodness that, So they had snake for dinner that night instead of regular feed. True story. Keeping chickens, super, super simple. They need a shelter. They need someplace that they can get locked up in at night so that they're away from predators. Chickens are more vulnerable at night. And unfortunately, humans are not the only ones that think chicken is delicious. I'm just saying. You have to have a place that you can lock them away. Hi. Big Bertha wants in. Come on. Come on. Come on, go ahead. No, get in. Come on. Okay, go. Okay. Don't mind me. You have to have a place that they can be locked away. Chickens need food. I mean, you know. For laying hens, they need at least 16% protein. I feed mine a little bit differently. I do feed mine a higher protein. They get closer to 21% protein. It's just my personal preference, but the majority of people do 16%. It's very, very common. As far as water, I would say that they need clean water. I mean, that's a given. They need clean water. However, if you keep ducks with chickens, and I do, ducks are extremely dirty. They're looking at me right now. Ducks are extremely dirty. They will muck up water within 5-10 minutes of you actually cleaning it out and filling it back up. So if you keep ducks with them, the likelihood of having clean, super clean water for them to drink all the time is going to be less likely. You'll have to have a separate waterer, and I do have some separate waterers for them that you keep up a little bit higher to keep the ducks out of it and keep them from scratching into it. We are now in winter, and I know on a couple of videos previous, you heard me talk about I don't have lights out here. I don't have heat lights. I don't keep a heat lamp out here. Chickens don't need it, especially in my area. They don't need it. They just need some place that they can get, you know, that you can keep the draft off of them. And that's really it. They have a lot of down. The chickens, the ducks, they both have down. They bring in their winter feathers. It keeps them nice and warm. They huddle together. They're watching me talk to y'all. It's funny. She's just watching, just do her head like this. Are you watching me talk? Are you? Yeah, you're just so interested. So interested in what I'm saying. That's one of my good mama ducks. She is, yes, I'm talking about you. She is amazing, mama. Most of these ducks that you see out here are actually from her. In the winter, I don't believe in heat lamps. I don't believe in lights. Now, when I first started keeping chickens, I do have a light out here. And what I would do is I'd come out every day just before dark and turn on the light. Now, the light is solar, and another one trying to get in. So the light is solar, so it charges up during the day, and I have light out here at night. Why did I do that? To keep them in egg production. And I did that, and I had success. You know, they still slowed down, but I wanted to keep them in eggs longer because during the winter they just stop. They just stop laying. After a couple of years of doing that, I started doing a little bit more research, and for me, I choose to give my ladies a vacation. They've given me eggs all spring and summer, and during the winter, they're molting, they're growing their feathers back. I choose to give them a break. Right now I'm getting, out of all of them, I'm getting about 3 to 4 eggs a day. The rest of them are freeloading. So, I give them their natural break. It's just a part of nature. I figure that is the best for their health. And that's just my personal opinion. Now, heat lamps, like I've said, they don't need it. Let me show you what I do to keep them warm. This is a deep litter method. And so what we've got here is I've got about a foot of hay all over the center here, right below their little perches. And I've got about 6 to 8 inches of hay in each one of the nesting boxes just to give a little cushion when they do decide to lay eggs. And you can see this hole, there's a hole created here. And that's from the chickens actually coming in here and scratching. So with this deep litter method, the idea behind it is that they'll actually poop, and then you kind of turn the hay over, and you saw me doing that in the very beginning of the video. You'll turn the hay over and kind of break up the poop, and the carbon from the litter that you use, whatever your choice is. If you've got a lot of trees in your yard, use the leaves. It's perfectly fine. So as they break down, the carbon will actually absorb all the the yuckiness. It actually doesn't smell out here. I mean, it smells like a chicken yard, but it's not as bad as you would think with having this many chickens in one area all night. So you turn it over, you kind of break up the poop, and then what I do is I sprinkle a little bit of their food in here, and what they'll do is they'll go in and they'll scratch, and they'll scratch, and they'll scratch, and they'll continue to break that down. And so every day you just come in here, spend 5 minutes while you're feeding them, and just kind of turn over the hay, and you cover up the poop. Sorry, that's what it is. Cover up the poop, and what'll happen is it'll begin to break down. And as it breaks down, it's actually going to create a little bit of heat. And as the heat rises, it'll help keep them warm. So I do this in lieu of a heat lamp or a heater for them. Like I've said, they don't need a heat source to keep warm. And I know what you're going to say, but Krystal, I've got my heat light and lamp way up here, and my chickens are way down here. Listen. Chickens do not stay still. They're going to flap their wings. They're going to bounce around. And what they're going to do is they're going to actually fluff this hay or whatever their litter is. And it's going to send dust up into the air. And when the dust goes up, it's going to get caught into that lamp, caught into the light, and it's going to spark. My opinion, and the opinion of lots of other experts that I've studied and read up on, we all agree. Heat lamps are a no-no. Now, if you have a brooder, you have babies, a heat lamp until they get fully feathered out, of course. You know, they don't have the big giant wings that they flap around like these big hens do, and roosters. So, no heat lamps. Okay, so with the deep litter, at the end of the winter, and our winters are not very long here, at the end of the winter, I'll come in and muck everything out and go straight into my garden because the chickens have actually done the work for me. They have actually scratched it all day. You see what this one's doing back here? See that? Just scratching around. Well, right now just sitting in one hole eating, but scratching around and breaking everything down. So by the time that spring has come around, I've got fabulous stuff to put into my garden. Would I recommend chickens for everyone? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If your homeowners association, if your township, if your town, if your community allows it, yes, absolutely. I think the math is you need 4 hens per person in your house to keep you in eggs all year long. But keep in mind that chickens, they're a gateway to homesteading. Absolutely. I had no idea that I was headed for a homesteading life. I had no idea that I was going to want to plant a 100 by 100 square foot garden. I had no idea that I was going to learn how to can, learn how to cook from scratch, and I blame it on the chickens. Just saying. So beware. You get chickens, you could end up living the homesteader lifestyle. Okay, that's enough of me blabbing for one day. I hope that you guys like this video, and if you do, please give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, and please share this video with all of your friends. And until we talk again, y'all have a blessed day. Bye now.